Have you ever read a story so haunting, so deeply human, that it lingers long after the final page? The story of the Hottentot Venus, or Exile Child, by Suzanne Franco, is one of those books. It's a powerful reimagining of the life of Saartjie Baartman, a young Khoikhoi woman from South Africa whose body and identity were exploited under the gaze of 19th century Europe. This is not just a historical novel, it's a cry for dignity, a whisper of pain, and a remembrance of a woman whose voice was stolen but never silenced. The story begins in the Eastern Cape, where Saartjie lives a simple but joyful life, surrounded by family, love, and the rhythm of her homeland. You can almost feel the warmth of the African sun on her skin, hear the laughter of her community, and see the hope in her young eyes. But that hope is shattered when she's taken, tricked, into believing she'll find a better life abroad. What follows is a journey that strips her of everything familiar. In London, she becomes an object of fascination, her body displayed in circuses and exhibitions. Yet, beneath the cruelty, Franco lets us glimpse her fire, her longing for home, her defiance, her belief that she is more than the labels forced upon her. Even as she's paraded before strangers, Saartjie clings to fragments of her past, songs, memories, and dreams that no one can take away. The novel traces Saartjie's journey from her homeland to the stages of Europe, where she was displayed as a human curiosity, the Hottentot Venus. But what Franco does beautifully is give Saartjie her humanity back. Through rich narration and emotional depth, we don't just see her, we feel her, her dreams, her heartbreak, her fierce will to survive in a world determined to define her by her body. But Franco doesn't shy away from the harsh realities of racism, colonialism, and sexism. Yet, amid all the exploitation, we find moments of grace, friendship, love, and a deep connection to home. The author's attention to detail brings 1800s Europe to life, the cold cobbled streets, the curious crowds, and the loneliness of being far from home in a world that doesn't see your soul. Reading this book feels like carrying a weight, a necessary one. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about how history treated Black women's bodies and how echoes of that exploitation still exist today. At times, I had to pause and breathe. There's a quiet grief that runs through the pages, not just for Saartjie, but for every person whose story was rewritten or erased by history. Franco's writing is lyrical and compassionate. She doesn't sensationalize pain, she honors it. Through her words, Saartjie becomes more than a historical figure. She becomes a woman, a sister, a daughter, someone whose laughter, fear, and strength feel intimately real. If you, like me, love historical fiction that moves your spirit and challenges your perspective, Exile Child is a must-read. It's a story about identity, injustice, and ultimately the fight to reclaim one's humanity. When I closed the book, I didn't just feel sadness, I felt gratitude. Gratitude that writers like Suzanne choose to tell stories the world tried to forget. So if you're ready for a read that will stay with you, heart first, pick up this book, The Story of the Hottentot Venus. In 2002, her remains were returned from France and laid to rest in the Eastern Cape, a long overdue act of justice and remembrance. Her homecoming restored dignity denied to her in life and honored her as a daughter of Africa, whose story still inspires generations.